What's up everybody, Hoang Zero here, and today I have for you a BT16 deck profile featuring what is arguably my favorite deck in the entire format, Armadillomon. Armadillomon has a super interesting niche, being that it's one of the few super control decks that we do have in the game that isn't like security control, for example. And how the deck functions, it abuses the Blast Ace mechanic as well as Magnamon X, which if you didn't know, Yellow Black has access to some of the best Blast Aces in the game, like Valkyrie, Mega Gargo, as well as Vikemon. So, without further ado, we're going to get straight into the video. Up first, we do have the 4 Upamon. Upamon, as an egg, is opponent's turn. While you have 2 or more colors, gain blockers. So this turns all of your level 4s, your level 5s, and your level 6s into guaranteed blockers. This means your Valkyrie, once you Blast Ace into it, gains blocker. You could arguably run Draw Egg instead, but you have so many searchers in your deck that it's not super necessary. You also have access to cards like TK, you have the trainings and whatnot, so you'd rather have guaranteed blocker for your Valkyries. Now, one of the advantages that you have in the Armadillomon deck is that the BT16 Armadillo, as well as BT16 and Kilo, both give you plus 1000 DP as an inheritable. Why this is relevant is because this means your Magnamon X is always going to be bigger on average than opposing Magnamon X, whereas their Magnamon X may be 15k, yours is 16 or 17. They will be running more than likely 1 plus 1k egg from blue base Vmon, and if that's the case, then you can match them. You also have a plethora of DP minus that they don't have access to, like cards like Valkyrie or Edamon that you can use to also get ahead in terms of that. But we play 4 of the BT8 Armadillo. This Armadillo is on play, reveal top 4, add 1 2-color yellow card among them, and bot deck the rest. With TK Cody, which free plays an Armadillo, this basically searches almost your entire deck. This searches all your 4s, all your 5s, searches your Valkyrie, and it also grabs your TK Codys. So it's really good as a generic searcher. The 4 BT16 Armadillo, it's good to have your inheritable plus 1000 DP, but also when one of your other Digimon is played or Digivolves, if it has free trait or is yellow, gain 1 memory. So in combination with the TK Cody, you can set up some really nice memory gain properties, and that way you can try to make a Shaco joggers play. We play 4 of the movie promo Armadillo. On play, reveal top 3, add 1 black or yellow card with 2 or more colors, and a Tamer with Cody. So this grabs both a Digimon as well as a Tamer. And then its end of turn is Jogress, which is very relevant when you have the Shakoumon, because you can set up the Jogress end of turn, go into the Shako, gain back memory, and then keep your turn, which then allows you to go into the Magnamon X, for example. So yeah, I think all these Armadillos very important, especially when you need it. The name for TK Cody. Our level 4 lineup, we do play the 3 Submarimon. Submarimon is Armor Purge when Digivolving, trash bottom card of your opponent's Digimon, and then one of your opponent's Digimon with no sources gets minus 3000 DP. This is a card back from all the way in BT8, and it's actually really good this format, because what you can do is you can strip, say, a Numamon X from a Monzaimon, and then you can inflict minus 3000 DP onto a separate body, so like, for example, a Numamon, or you can strip an Uko and then kill the Uko. Just in general, a lot of cards in this format are very weenie-like the Ukomons, the Numamons, Vmons. So having Submarimon being able to snipe this very efficiently is really great. We also have the new BT16 Sheepmon, which is Armor Purge Collision, which is a brand new keyword. And all turns, when an attack target is switched, you may end the attack. So a lot of really cool mechanics you can do here. For one, if they have, against Numamon especially, if they have like smaller bodies, so like they have like all their little weaklings, and you can swing Sheepmon, force them to block with Collision, remove it via that, and then you can remove the other bodies however you want, whether it's evolving Submarimon over a target with TK Cody, or whether or not you're setting up a Valkyrie play. Really, you just like a lot of different ways to have early game removal, and Sheep and Submari are both really fantastic against Numamon matchups. Attack target swap ending means that if you swing Sheepmon, you force them to block with the Magnamon X, and then you can just negate the attack, and then you can go all out against them. There's a lot of other things too, like you can swing out, and then if they try to swing into and you block with a different body, then you can also negate that attack. And just in general, it's a very versatile skill that I think a lot of people will overlook. Now we play 4 in Kilo. It is Barrier, on play when Digivolving, one of your opponent's Digimon cannot attack players, and then ESS is plus 1000 DP, all players' turns. This is really good because what this allows you to do is it allows you to swing at your opponent's security with Enkilo. You have Barrier, so you won't die, and then you can go into Shako right after, so if you want to get additional damage, it's really easy that way. And its on-play when Digivolving is really good, especially because it's at 4 cost. This means if you target Magnamon X, they can't swing at a player, so it's much harder for them to re-proc it. They would need something like Blinding Ray or a TK to try and re-proc the Magnamon X. So Enkilo is very good at stalling for that. Now, we do play 4 Shako. Shako is partitioned black and yellow when Digivolving until the end of your opponent's turn. This Digimon isn't affected by the effects of their Digimon. And if you DNA, you can do a Chaos Degradation for a Digimon with as high or low as a level as the number of cards in your or your opponent's security at the bottom of their stack. And then its inheritable is partition black and yellow 4. So all your level 4s go into the Shako. Even if you don't go for the Jagras, the fact that you get immunity from Digimon is really impactful because this means that if you go, you are always threatening a Valkyrie play because like you can end turn on Shako. Most people don't run actual option removal, and then if they try to like do anything in front of the Shako, you're getting your Valkyrie play off, and if they don't do anything, they leave the Shako, then you have much more authority in that sense where you can now swing out or you can remove whatever. You're basically putting them on the back burner, so it's really good. And partition, when you partition out, you go into like Enkilo. This stuns a body. Sheepmon allows you to negate attacks as well if you already have a blocker assembled. If you have, for example, your Shaku underneath your Valkyrie, they're really going to want to remove the Valkyrie because the Valkyrie is just super annoying to have on the board, but then that lets you regurgitate your level 4s, and then you can set up another Jogger's play right after that. Now we do also play 4 Edamon, and if it hasn't been apparent yet, Edamon is super broken in this format because forcing your opponent to play into Valkyrie is absolutely ginormous, but it's on play when Digivolving, so you can easily go Enkilo, move out, swing, and then Evo into Edamon, or you go Jagras into Shako with secondary stack, and then slam Edamon, and that kind of just seals the game, TBH, because then you can threaten Valkyrie plus like an additional stack on top of everything. The inheritable is like okay, because you can play out all of your armadillos, and like if you play one of the search armadillos, that's kind of nifty, but generally your game plan is going to be turn your first stack into a Magnamon X, use that to wall up against your opponent, and then your second stack is going to be like Edamon into Valkyrie. And then speaking of Valkyrie, we do play 4 Valkyrie. This card is really, really strong, probably the best Blast Ace in the format, in my opinion. The fact that you have access to Edamon and it's actually searchable in this deck, unlike, say, Numemon, is really huge because that means you're having a much more consistent Eda Valkyrie combo. The minus DP works really well when the fact that you're also gaining additional DP from your Enkilo and Armadillo, so you're actually swinging like 13k, 14k on Valkyrie, so you're actually not dying to level 6s in security in comparison to like say Numemon, which means that you can actually swing much, much safer and not feel as bad about it. It also means that Valkyrie will survive the Heaven's Judgment proc from security. So even if, for example, as long as it's the second card that you're hitting its Heaven's Judgment, you will survive and not trigger Overflow. So Valkyrie has a lot of inherent synergy with this deck. 3 Magnamon X. Magnamon X ability triggers if you have armor in source, so Samari or Sheep will both give you your Magnamon X proc. Magnamon X works whenever a security is removed from either player's source. So if, for example, you slam your TK, this will also trigger the Magnamon. Combo-wise, you're swinging Magnamon out like for twice into their face, and then or like once and then restand, and then you go like Edamon slam, and then you force them into Valkyrie, and then you can block them. And it's just like super easy. It is very cohesive. We play 1 Death X. Death X I think is just really good this format, especially into Numemon, or anything that wants to go wide, like if you play, or anything with like much more difficult protection, like armors, for example, being able to de-digivolve them. You can replace the Death X with a Chaosmon or a Ragnalordmon if you want, because then those two can use Armadillo's end of turn Jagras, but Death X is just generically good into like everything. I play 2 TK. Memory Setter is always a great thing. It grabs majority of your deck from security, and it triggers Magnamon X, so it kind of just does everything that you need it to, which is really great. 3 TK Cody. This card, seeing it early game is absolutely insane. Being able to spit out your armadillos, which then helps you with your joggers play, spitting out your searchers as well, which will get you majority of your cards, as well as the D-Digivolve whenever you jog rest. So against Imperial Ultramon, for example, or against Tyrant Kabuterimon, being able to D-Digivolve their stack that's problematic is really great, especially Dragon Mode, right? D-Digivolve Dragon Mode, and then you can set up Edivalk. Next, we do play the 2 Emperors. Decks like Vmon, decks like Yellow Vaccine with Patamon, Ukomon, all of these are affected by the Emperor. I think really just everything in this format kind of gets hit by Emperor, like anything that uses the new BT16 support, as well as like Lugamon decks if they want to try and get AG from trash or like play for free from hand. If you see the Emperor, one Emperor usually like deters them, but not like enough to like seal it. If you already get double Emperor out, then usually it's kind of just over for them because then they can just never move out because you'll gain 4. And the ability to draw an additional card helps with consistency in this deck. 2 physical trainings. Training is just always generically a really good card. It grabs your Tamers as well, which is always a plus. Being able to reduce cost into your level 4 and then gain memory off of like TK Cody plus like BT16 Armadillo means you can extend a lot of your plays. And then the last 2 cards that we are doing is 2 Zubagon Punch, because this deck kind of struggles with closing out games sometimes. So being able to Zubagon Punch your Magnamon X for 4 damage is always a great thing. You can also use this with Valkyrie with plus 1000 DP, then you can target it with Zubagon to hit 16,000. So you can swing a 3-check Valkyrie if you ever need to. So yeah, that is the Armadillomon deck profile. You have really great strengths across the board, like Numemon is super doable, Armors, Vaccine is super doable. I think your hardest matchups is Imperial sometimes if you're not able to deal with the Dragon Mode efficiently. But versus Dragon Mode, you can slam Edamon, force them to attack, and then like block with like Shako because their Dragon Mode is 12k. So under the Edamon, they go to 9k, and so if you have like a 10k Shako, then you block them. If you have Magnamon X, you can also block them, which is really great. Tyrant Kabuterimon can also be really, really tricky because we don't run the Heaven's Judgment to actually snipe the body. They're also immune, and so like if you taunt the Tyrant and you force them to swing, the moment they go tapped, they shed all the DP minus and then just run over you. But for the Tyrant, we can look to try and use TK Cody to try deny them value. If they ever have the Tyrant in a unsuspended position, because what you can do is you can Ankylo, target Tyrant, make it so it can't swing out, and then you can set up TK Cody. Obviously, they have cards that can still rest the Tyrant, which is kind of bothersome, but again, you can only do so much. Tyrant's probably your hardest matchup, but Tyrant's also a deck that I don't expect to see too much, so if your bad matchups are like Tyrant and sometimes Imperial, I think it's okay. And if you're like pretty good at everything else, Luga sometimes can be really hard because they'll just sit back and wait for you and then OTK you out the gate. But if you have like a well-established Magnamon or you have like a well-established Shako into Valk, generally you're okay. So thank you all so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. Be sure to subscribe to the rest of the Hoang Zero YouTube channel and the Hoang Zero Patreon, where you can see sneak peek on content. So thank you very much and peace.